Hey guys, Doctor Snippets here, and it is Sunday, so you know what that means. It's time for an episode review, and today it is of last night's episode, Series 8, Episode 5, Time Heist. Time Heist, where do we start? Well, I was told that this would be a bad episode, and people were dreading this episode, but to me it is very high up in my rating of Series 8. I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. I thought it was great. So I've got quite a lot to go through in this review. I picked up on quite a lot when I watched it for the second time. So I'm going to go through it now, and you know my reviews by now. So let's get going. The first thing I liked about this episode was the opening. It started with the Doctor looking like a washing machine, and then as it was spinning, the first thing we saw in the episode was the new style time vortex sort of spinning around, and then that became the Doctor's face spinning, and then you could see it was in the washing machine. So I thought that was really cool, and it's the first time we've sort of seen the new time vortex outside of the opening credits. So I thought that was cool. Also, as I mentioned last week, I think it was last week, this is a sort of trend going on now, whereas the episode starts off with Clara at home, usually doing something, has a plan, has plans for the day, and then the Doctor comes along and takes her somewhere, whether she likes it or not. That is how it seems to be going at the moment. So the Doctor is obviously travelling alone between these periods. So this incarnation of the Doctor, for all we know, could be a couple of 100 years old by now. So hopefully one day we might, the writers might use that as an opportunity to slot in some past adventures, which is a very good thing. And then the next thing that happened, as Clara was going away on her date with Danny, the Tardis phone rang, and we got another reference to the woman in the shop who gave Clara the Doctor's number in the Bells of St. John, and that was another hint at the future story arc. And that was all we had of the story arc for this episode. We saw no Missy again, which was a shame. I was hoping we'd see her by now, maybe next week. We've only seen her twice so far, and those two episodes were back to back. So hopefully soon we'll get another appearance of Missy. But yes, this was like it wasn't even subtle. It was directly out there. The Doctor told Clara we still don't know who that was that called him. So we should gave Clara his number. So we will get to that, I'm sure. By the way, I must apologise about this light coming in through the window. I'm recording this at a really bad time of day, and I can't be bothered to come back later. So sorry. The next thing that happened is the Doctor answered the phone. It was quite clever. He told Clara nothing happens when you answer a phone. Puts it up to his ear, and the next thing you know, he's holding a worm to his ear. And these worms make you forget. They are they erase your memory. These worms are creepy but awesome, and I thought they were really cute. It was a clever transition there. Then they woke up. They were in a room with two other people, and they had no idea how they got there. And then a mysterious guy came on, like a voice recording. He was wearing a hood, and he had a creepy voice, and no one knew why they were there. They were trying to work out why they were there, and he just played a recording. It reminded me a lot of Saw. It really freaked me out how much like Saw that was. The whole episode was very well done. It was like one of those movies where there's a bank robbery. As they were walking through the bank, you see different angles of them. It was very well done. I loved the effects used in this episode. The editing was brilliant, and yeah, it was going really well so far. And then we met the Teller, the big dude with the eyes out here. He is adorable. I loved him, and it was such a clever idea, a very classic Stephen Moffat era idea of him being able to hear thoughts, and that's how he worked. Very clever idea. Bit confusing at places, but the Teller was a good concept. And then once again, the Doctor let the initial guy that came out, and the Teller scans and turned his brain into soup. The Doctor let him die when Clara said we needed to help him. And as this man was being like sucked by his thoughts were being like traced by the Teller or whatever, Clara said we've got to help him, and the Doctor just said no, it's too late. Whereas previous Doctors would have just tried to help him. Again, yet another example of how the 12th Doctor is a very dark Doctor. This is similar to when he let Ross die in Into the Dalek. Basically, it's the eyebrows. So yeah, we got another reference to Peter Capaldi's big eyebrows that sort of is a sort of like throwaway to the 50th when we first saw him. I still love it when we saw him in the 50th. Totally unexpected, but totally awesome. The bomb was really cool. the what was it called? It was called the dimensional shift bomb that moved the atoms to a different plane. It was so clever and really good concept right there. And then when the alarm goes off a bit later when they're in the vaults and stuff, it's the same alarm that was used when the robot's spaceship above the Earth blew up in Robot of Sherwood, which also is the same sound effect that's been on the iPhone as a ringtone since 2007. So, but yeah, it's the same alarm, and I recognise that instantly because I've been using it as a ringtone for like 7 years. So, Sai has a USB port in his head. How awesome is that? I need one of them one day. Hopefully, one day I'll have a USB port in my head. We later see the Doctor and Sabra come out of this like vent area that says no entry under any circumstances, which is brilliant, and it sort of highlights how sort of rebellious this Doctor is, how he breaks the rules. He's a rebel, just like how his outfit was meant to represent. He is just a subtle way of, it's also amusing, but it's subtle and very good way of showing that this Doctor is a rebel. Sabra says to the Doctor, "Could you trust someone who looks back at you out of your own eyes?" I think that's what she said. And that again is sort of talking about how this Doctor is still wondering why he's seen this face before. And I wonder if he has worked out whether it was from Pompeii. But I really hope they do explore it more soon. And I know we're finding the answer out, but I would love to find out soon. The whole idea of keeping your mind blank to stop it from detecting you is another thing that's been used recently in Doctor Who quite a lot. A bit like holding your breath in deep breath and turning around and listen to make the thing go away. It's very like, it's difficult, and it's sort of like the Weeping Angels, don't look at them. It's difficult to do, and it's very like, you've got to put all faith in that, and it's very, very Doctor Who like. And another thing I gotta point out is the Doctor Let Sabra Die told her he didn't know how to save her, and he was honest. So not only is this yet another example of how this Doctor is dark, it's also showing how he's just honest, straight up. He doesn't like to lie to people anymore. He is straightforward with them and told them, "Yeah, I don't know how to save you. You're gonna die." And just before Sabra dies, she says that the Doctor is a good man, and she left it a bit late to meet one of them. So that's also talking about how this Doctor's worrying, is he a good man? So now he's hopefully got his confirmation that he is a good man. And then another thing about when Clara has to keep her mind clear is when she is hiding from the teller, and you hear the Doctor's voice saying, "Keep your mind blank, Clara." Well, no, keep your mind clear, blank out any thoughts, or something like that. And that's closely, very similar to when Clara is with the robots in deep breath, and you hear the Doctor say, "How long can you hold your breath?" because he said it earlier on in the episode. So that's very similar right there. Next, Sai saves Clara by plugging himself in and pretending to be every famous villain ever. And we saw on the screen several famous villains from history and lots from the Doctor Who universe. A few I picked up on from the Doctor Who universe were the Gunslinger from A Town Called Mercy, John Hart from Torchwood, the Slovene. We saw an Ice Warrior. We saw the Trickster from Sarah Jane Adventures, and we saw Androvax from the Sarah Jane Adventures. There were probably more, but they're the ones I picked up on, and there were some famous historical villains as well. And then Sai takes his own life rather than being soup. And then, like all good computers, unlocking the vault fails. And according to Clara, Sai died for nothing. So that's a bit of a shame. And then the solar storm comes along and messes up all the bank systems, and the vault opens. Now, this is when the Doctor starts to realise that whoever planned this is in the future because of how they knew the storm was coming at that precise time, and he says it's a time travel heist, not just a mank heist, so that is where the title comes from, Time Heist. The Doctor and Clara go into the vault, and in Tech 251 they find Sai's reward, which was a memory crystal thing that would give him back his memories that he deleted when he was being interrogated in prison. And then they moved on to Org 339, where they found Sabra's reward, which was a gene suppressant which would stop her from being a shapeshifter person when she touched anyone. It's a cool ability, but like she said, she could never touch anyone because as soon as she did, she started to look like them. So, personally, I think if I'd been a shapeshifter for that long, I would like to touch someone again, probably. And then they realise that the Doctor and Clara's reward is in the private vault where Karabraxos keeps her, or his, spoiler, private wealth in there. So they were going there, and then they got caught by the teller and taken up to the main bank area where they are told they are going to be disposed of, and then 2 guards come and grab their arms and be like, blah blah blah, we're gonna kill you and all that. And then I realised at the time, what if those 2 guards were Sabra and Sai wearing helmets? And then I realised one of them wasn't wearing a helmet, and stupid me thought, hey, it can't be Sabra and Sai because one of them's not wearing a helmet. But I totally forgot that Sabra can change what she looks like, and there we go. Sai took off his helmet, Sabra turned back, and they were still alive, and the atomic shredders turned out to be teleports to a rescue ship. So that's how they survived. And the rescue ship is also where the Tardis was. Then we found out Karabraxos cloned herself. We found out who the director of the bank was, and we found out she cloned herself to make loads of her clones, which she didn't actually get on with, and she burns them from time to time. The Doctor then has one of his shut up moments where he's like, shut up, shut up, shuttity, shut up, and de-shut up, when he suddenly starts realising that he hates the architect and blah blah blah. We'll get to that in a minute, but it was a cool Peter Capaldi, oh my god, everyone shut up moment. So I liked that. Then the Doctor realised the only way to get his memories back was to soup. He refers to the teller as Big Man, which is a bit like when he called the dinosaur in Deep Breath Big Man, and then realised it was a female, so Big Woman and all that. As the teller is souping him, he mentions big scarf, bow tie, says the bow tie was embarrassing. So finally the Doctor realises that his 11th incarnation's bow tie was a mistake. And then the best part of the whole episode, where he says, what do you think of the new look? I was aiming for minimalistic, but I think I came out with magician. Ever since Peter Capaldi's costume was announced back in January, everyone said he looked like a magician, and now the Doctor himself has acknowledged that he looks like a magician. And of course, then it's all revealed that the Doctor, all along, was the architect. We'll get to that in a minute. Well, no, let's do it now, actually. Basically, the Doctor received a phone call from the future Karabraxos, and she told him to go to the bank. The Doctor put on the hood, did voice recording, arranged everything, and yes, the Doctor was the architect. The whole thing was actually a rescue mission to set free the female teller creature, which was hidden or being kept captive in another vault inside the private vault. That the teller knew the combination to because he was connected to Thingy, and then when she was gone, he could open it and rescue his mate. So that was all good, and as she was dying, she realised her regret for wiping out the species, so she called the Doctor to go back in time and save them. So overall, it was a giant rescue mission for the female and the male teller creatures. And then everyone went home, it was all good, everything was fine. I have a feeling Sai and maybe Sabra may be involved in the future. Don't know why, I just have a feeling they will be. And the Doctor tells Sai to call him, so maybe in the future. So overall, I think this episode was brilliant. I give it a 9 out of 10, placing it as my second favourite episode of Series 8 so far, under Listen. So my rating currently is Listen, then Time Heist, then Deep Breath, then Into the Dalek, and the worst by far in my opinion was Robot of Sherwood. So yes, I would say Time Heist is my second favourite of Series 8, and it's up there with one of my favourite episodes ever. Well, I have a lot of favourite episodes ever, but I would say it's one of the best episodes we've had in a long time. But Listen still takes my top spot on Series 8, and my favourite episode of the new series so far, with Day of the Doctor in second. So Time Heist was great in my opinion. Keely Hawes' performance was great. I was looking forward to seeing her. I think she could have been expanded on more, but that never happened. Again, my disappointment is that we didn't see Ellie and Missy, but we did have a reference to the woman in the shop. So there is that story arc going. I realised, personally, that the architect was the Doctor as soon as the solar storm started, and he said that this guy was in the future, the architect was in the future. It all suddenly made sense there, to me. I don't know why, I might have just got lucky when the thought crossed my mind, but from when they were trying to unlock the vault, that's when I realised the Doctor was the architect. And next week we have the Caretaker, where the Doctor goes back to Colchester School and starts working as the caretaker, because I think he wants to keep an eye on Clara. Could be a very good episode, I think. So I look forward to next Saturday. And of course, as usual, I will be reviewing it next Sunday. So I will see you guys then. Yeah, see you guys next Sunday. And thanks for watching. And remember to subscribe and all that. So bye.